talk about. I know you talked about it a little bit in the last interview. Basically, the end of the '60s and what happened to Marusan.
So, Marusan was the first company that made kaiju software of Ultra series and Godzilla series since 1966, like monsters of Ultra Q, Ultraman, and Captain Ultra, Ultra 7, and Godzilla series, Baragon, Gorosaurus, Mothra. So many vinyl kaiju made. Unfortunately, Marusan went bankruptcy in 1968, rebuilt next year in 1969. After rebuilt the company, Marusan started to sell plastic model kit, pla model first. But also at that time, a new company was established by Marusan's ex-employees. That's named BOOTLEG. BOOTLEG started to sell vinyl monsters first, like Ultra series and Godzilla Toho Monster series. And after that, also Marusan wanted to make the vinyl monster toys, but most of the popular characters, BOOTLEG already took almost of major licenses. So Marusan could take the license of the only Dorakuro, it's an anime, like a dog character. Then Marusan did was making original monsters. Marusan's Ultra Kaiju series. Marusan's Ultra, so completely bootleg. Now we call this Marusan's original monsters Marumon, because it's kind of the abbreviation of Marusan original monsters or Marusan monsters, Marumon. So Marusan produced original Marumon, so-called 350 size. That means around 23 centimeters. Some collectible standard size, and also some big one, giant size, about 40 centimeter height. Also some small, middle size, and some finger puppet size. So Marusan made so many original monsters. Well, actually, to me, looks like some, so-called bootleg. But some of them very original design. Especially I like this guy Ebirion is very like original. Bamel, this one is very original. And this one reminds some other something. Anyway, most of these were made in 1970 and 71. At the time, not only Marusan, many toy companies made original monsters. Not only vinyl kaiju, but also plastic model kit. It's like Imai Kagaku or Nitto Kagaku. Nitto Kagaku was producing like Gamera series plastic model kit. Then also they made original Gamaron and Wanigon, or that kind original. Some other toy company made original vinyl monster also. Like Yonezawa. Yeah, Yonezawa made some original monsters. But the difference between Marumon and the other original monsters at the time is kaiju newspaper. This kaiju newspaper contained each product and explaining specification of each monster, the height, where it's from, and something like that. So it's like a kaiju book, popular at the time. And then Marusan made reissue of the Marumon in 1997. That's my first job in Marusan. But not only just making the old one, kind of new sculpting, making like King Godoras. This is King Godoras, but this one sold in 1970, at the time called King Godzilla. But now we call King Godoras because the consciousness of the copyright is so different now and then. So we changed the name. This is 40 centimeter height. But I made reissue. This last year I made a reissue with the 30 centimeter size. This design and the 30 centimeter size, and also there was a 350 size original one. Yeah, I made also this reissue. And also, I made a King Ghidorah's Heisei version.
This guy out of the way.
This is King Ghidorah's Heisei version. Not only making the same design, but also the kind of a new design of the series. And maybe this year I'm going to make maybe King Ghidorah's regular version coming soon. So this year I'm going to sell MARUMON series and events. In this year, June, it will be 5 Points Festival in New York. And I think maybe July, G-Fest in Chicago. Also, October, Taipei Toy Festival. And December, Designer Con in LA. So I'm going to bring our Pokemon over there. So please check it out.
Pokemon?
Pokemon. I said Pokemon?
Yeah,
Please check it out.
Nice.
Yeah. This is King Ghidorah's 450 collaboration with Tokyo Toy Busters. So what do you think? Cool, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeremy of Tokyo Toy Busters.
Can you tell us about this one?
Okay. This one, this looks like King Ghidorah's. It's a lamp inside. Even though now it's broken, but it's a light inside, and this is not made by Malson. It's a copyright. Banana oil.
Banana oil.
Banana oil. Copyright banana oil. I don't know who did banana oil. Banana oil.
That's from the American Seirufu, the American dialogue for Gigantus, the second, the Anguillus, and then the overdub of that. It's kind of a famous line. George Takei, Star Trek. He did the Fukikaya, the overdub for that. And one of the crazy dialogues is, instead of saying like, maybe the original is like chikusho, but he goes banana oil.
Banana oil.
Oh, that's an English expression, like a chikusho.
But it's a very weird and not a common expression. So I don't know why. Maybe there's a connection with that, but that's like kind of a famous like banana oil. What?
So I picked this guy up a couple of years ago when I was out on a toy hunting trip in Tokyo. He came from the Nakano Broadway Mandarake Mall, and out of all of the other toys that could have potentially come home with me that day, this guy really stood out to me, and there's a few reasons why. I really liked how he looked rough and ready. He looked like he'd been made with a lot of love. He looked handcrafted, not like some machine-engineered, mass-produced figure. He really looked like he was one of a kind. You could almost see the thumbprints that had been left in him by the sculptor that created him. I felt like you could almost see where he dug his sculpting tool in it when he was trying to create it and make it towards the deadline that he had. And there's just so many things about it that made it feel like it was just made with a lot of soul, you know? When you're in these shops out in Japan, like I said, there's so many different options, so many potential toys that could come home with you. So for one to draw your attention out of all of them really makes it something special to me. This is a figure that even if I sold most of my collection, I would never get rid of. He's always going to take pride of place on my shelf with all my other kaiju toys. And I can see why he's such a popular toy again nowadays. Because when I bought this thing, I didn't know anything about him. I've since found out more about it from meeting Jeremy and stuff. But when I first bought him, I didn't know anything about him other than he was just a cool looking knockoff Godzilla toy. And like I said, out of all of the other toys that could have potentially come home with me that day, this guy stood out to me for a reason.
Banana